Hi, this is Tampa Steve, and welcome to Wine Library TV.
Hello everybody and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. I have a very special episode today that I'm very excited about that I think will be bringing tremendous value not only to you guys but to myself. It's a fun little tasting. I've only done it once in my life and unknowingly. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to debunk and finally attack, does a wine glass really affect the flavors and characteristics of a wine? So I'm really excited about this. I have 8 different Riedel Venom series glasses, and what we're going to do is we're going to taste through the exact same wine in all 8 glasses and really see what the differences are, and I'm just really quite excited about this. Let me also, before I start tasting the wines, throw you a little trick, a little inside trick. I call it the move. The move is this. If you're going to go to a restaurant and you're wondering you want to decant a wine, and this is BYOB especially, what you can do is you can get a little filter, and what you do is you get a little filter, and so what you do is you take your bottle, and this is what I did with this about almost 4 hours ago now. We put them into the decanters because these are both big young wines, and I really wanted them to open up. It's a really special episode. I'm going to be really focused. So we put them in, they were decanted, and then what we did was we filtered them back into the bottle. And you can do that too, and then put the cork in, and then take it away to your restaurant. Now, don't get pulled over. I think you can get in trouble for that. I'm not sure. But, you know, the reality is that it's a great way to decant your wine and still bring it to BYOB. So I'm a huge fan of this move, and I think hopefully it helps you, and you can really use it for yourself. So today we have 2 very interesting wines. Let's talk about the wines real quick, because it's really about the glasses in a way today. I'm going to bring up the first wine. First wine is the Walter Hansel 2003 North Slope Vineyard Pinot Noir. Great producer, Walter Hansel. This is about $28, 90 points Parker. Big New World Pinot Noir producer. So we're going to be doing that first. This is a lighter style red wine, or a Pinot Noir, more delicate style. We'll check it out. Then, what we'll do, and we may do this for whites one time, but today we're going to stick with 2 reds. Then we're going to do the 2004 Caymus Cabernet, very famous producer. Everybody knows it. I thought it would be a great, standard, polished California Cabernet. It's about $60, $55 to $60, 91 to 93 points Parker, and I'm really excited about to taste that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour this wine now in each of the glasses and let them all kind of be at the same exact time. I want to keep this as humanly possible to being exactly the same, except, that's right, except the glasses. So while I do that, let's talk about a couple other things. Several questions. Hope you can still see me. People were wondering how many people use the free shipping code. I'll answer that for you. Well over 700 different people used the shipping code, which now is expired. But if you're in a real bind and you need my help, just email me, and I will figure out how to make it work. But right now it does not work on the website. So we're probably going to have to pause in between and clean out these glasses for the Cabernet. But here we go. We've got this exact wine in 8 different glasses, and you know, my gut feeling is that we're going to be looking for subtleties. I don't think the wine's going to change completely. But let me give you the quick backstory of the only other time I've ever done this. I went to a wine tasting where it was a bunch of, you know, real high-profile buyers, and it was meant to be the serious wine tasting, blind. Everybody was there. We were going to compete. And what they did was they served the same exact wine 6 times, but all the wine glasses were subtly different. Riedel was putting this on behind the scenes, we didn't know, and what happened was all the glasses were very similar. You couldn't really tell. Nobody was really paying attention that much because, you know, it's just one of those things. We're much more focused on the wines and yapping. Anyway, it ended up being the same exact wine. And you know what? People did score the wines differently, and we did, you know, have an eye-opening experience where there were some subtleties. But, you know, and other times, I've not seen it. So this is really, for me, a personal tiebreaker, and really, really an exciting opportunity to tackle an issue that I've gotten a lot of emails about. So we're going to go from smallest to largest glasses, and we're going to start with first. I don't know if you see this, Eric. You have to let me know. This is, the writing says the Venom Cuvée Prestige. So this is the champagne glass, in essence. So we're trying a Pinot Noir, Walter Hansel, out of a champagne glass. Let's see what happens. I'm getting musty green earthiness, and I'm going to try to taste very quickly because I don't want even any more air to come in. I'm going to try to keep this as tight and complex. So what I'm going to really do is taste, give you some bullet points, and then maybe recap and retaste. But I don't want somebody to write and be like, well, it was a 25-minute difference. So here we go. Definitely a musty kind of aspect to the nose, very earthy. It smells like It smells very dirty, sweaty socks, kind of. It's very musty, almost moldy, almost, like a Moss Man from He-Man. Remember him? He was awesome. Very acidic, very tannic, tight. Not getting a lot of flavors of fruit, more dry, young Pinot Noir flavors, earth tones. I'm getting a little bit of sour cherry, but definitely a little bit of heat as well. Very awkward little wine at this stage, and for 4 hours of breathing, I'm really surprised. There's some dark fruit, there's some nice acidity, but it's very subtle. I would score this bottling or this glass 88 points. 88 points, which is a little bit lower than I'd hoped. I was tasting it 8 times. I was trying to bring something I thought I was going to like. So don't love it, but I've never had a Pinot out of a champagne glass before, so that was kind of fun. This is the Venom Chablis glass, and this is really kind. Sorry, Eric. The Venom Chablis glass is kind of interesting. This is a grape or a white Burgundy that a Chablis or a crisp. But I tend to use these sometimes for Loire Valley reds as well. Let's see what's going on here. I'm getting the similar. I will tell you there's a distinct difference in nose here, and so I think we're already kind of I mean, it's subtle, but there's definitely a difference. This is a little bit more open, not as intense on the nose, and maybe giving the smaller circumference of the champagne glass, but still the same basic, Moss Man, greenish, earthy nose. Same wine. Same wine. Maybe, you know what? It's going to be interesting. I'm going to have fun doing that with 8 glasses. Same basic wine. Same basic wine. Okay. Let's move on to the Venom dessert wine glass and Sauvignon Blanc glass. So this is the Riedel Venom Sauvignon Blanc and dessert wine glass. Let's see what's going on here. This is a little bit more floral than the other two. I'm getting a little bit of violet and a little bit of daisiness, whereas I didn't get as much in there. And earth tones are a little bit more muted. So let me start off by saying, as I'm doing this, we're talking about subtle flavor variations. This actually had more acidity. You might have saw my face. There was that quick shot of acidity that I didn't taste at all in the other two. So there is a subtle difference, but the same basic profile flavors, except some of the fruit is becoming a little bit more obvious as I'm climbing the scale here. I would still score the wine in the same range, but I probably would have scored that wine an 89 or 90 instead of an 88. So we're definitely starting to see a little bit of a change. I'm getting a little bit more polished cherry flavor on the Sauvignon Blanc glass. This is the Chianti Classico and Riesling glass. A very, 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 very unusual glass. We don't really sell a lot of this glass. Just people don't seem to buy this glass. I've rarely used it myself. Going back, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is definitely different on the nose. Definitely. And so that is already the first major eye-opening aspect of this. There's really no comparison. There's a much more intense, earthy, acidity-driven smell coming through the champagne glass, where this is more of a cherry-flavored aspect, a little bit of the earth, but definitely, and again, with subtleties, because they both still give you those overall Pinot Noir earth tones, but there's definitely some subtle differences. classic Pinot Noir smell. Excuse me, taste. Again, cherry, violets. Again, more towards a 90-point wine from Pinot than maybe the first one. And I've definitely seen change. This is pretty cool. All right, let's move on. This is the Vinum Montrachet glass, which is a glass that's really interesting for really high-end white wines. Also, unusual glass. We don't really sell a lot of these. I've never tasted any wine out of this Vinum Montrachet glass before, so I'm excited about it. Huge opening, similar to the Burgundy glass, which is next, which is the exact ideal glass for the wine we're tasting. So I'm excited about that. Let's see what we've got here. Struggling to get much of anything out of this one. This is wild. Again, all these glasses were cleaned with water at the same time. Really tried to be as concise as I can. Yeah, I'm really struggling to get anything out of this. Again, same basic wine as the other two. Maybe a little bit smoother, though. Maybe a little hint of smoothness that the others didn't show. This is the nicest Pinot in the bunch. I mean, this is wild. I'm going to declare right now that there's a difference because of glass. It's really not even close or subtle to me now. Tasting this, which the acidity was really obvious, and tasting this, where it's far more. And don't forget, we just poured these wines. They weren't even sitting. I mean, they were decanted for a long time, but you saw me pour the wine. So they've only been sitting here for whatever the few minutes that we've been doing this, and there's a clear-cut difference. I'm sure a lot of you at home are going, of course, we knew this, Gary, this is stupid, but I gotta tell you, it's pretty substantial at this point. And so, pretty interesting. And really gives a lot of credit to Rito for pushing this. Anyway, here is the Vinum Burgundy, and this is exactly the ideal glass for this wine. So let's see if we're seeing anything coming out of this. And it's so funny, I really thought it would be a lot more close to that, but I'm definitely getting a lot more aromatics from this. I mean, I'll tell you right now, right off the bat, and I think you can see it, I'm really enjoying this. The nose is a lot more obvious in the changing of the glasses than the actual taste is for me so far. This has almost a little bit more, the cherry starting to come through real obvious. It's got some of that dirt aspect, but there's almost a hint of like a charcoal in this that I didn't really get anywhere else. Very smooth, polished. This is really kind of almost humbling. This is one I really want to taste. Sure enough, opening a little bit from the first time, so I must admit, maybe the aeration, again, is doing a little something, because it's definitely changed a little bit. And this is, if this is not the episode to show you that wine is a moving target, nothing will. There's some differences. Some subtle differences. All right, let's move on. Probably the glass a lot of you drink your Pinot Noir out of. So you'll be excited to see the difference here. The Burgundy glass, this is now the Bordeaux glass. So this is the Bordeaux glass, the one that most people have, the Vinum Bordeaux. And let's see what's going on here. Pretty close. Pretty darn close. There's a difference. The Bordeaux glass is definitely kicking off a little more acidity than the Burgundy glass. You know what? I don't know why I've never done this before like this for myself. I guess after that tasting, I just assumed that glasses did make a difference, but I've never done it so intensely on shape, because don't forget, the one I went to, they all kind of look the same. It was a different glass company, so the flavors were really kind of close, but, they were the same shape. Here's where, everybody talks about the shape making a difference, and I'm really, really feeling it. Sorry, I'm so baffled. This is the Syrah glass from Riedel. So this is the Venom Riedel Syrah glass. It's kind of becoming a popular one because a lot of people are drinking the Barossa Shiraz. Syrah glass is really shooting off very similar flavor profiles to the Bordeaux, where I'm getting the heat and the acidity a little bit more. The Pinot Noir glass is polished and smooth. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, I was really mentally thinking there might not be this kind of a difference and was very prepared to go that route and deal with it. But I gotta tell you, and in this one, I mean, there's a substantial difference in these Pinot Noirs so far. I'll be honest with you, as I'm racing through my head, I think we're going to end the episode now. I don't think we really need to do the full-bodied Cabernet because I think we've really talked about and polished. We may do it. I'm kind of in the mood. We'll see. I guess, bottom line is, if you want to continue to watch the episode as I do the Cabernet, you definitely can, but I think we've really summed up this. I'll just do the question of the day, so if you don't want to watch the Cabernet, you don't have to. You can leave now. Question of the day is this. Have you ever had an experience where you thought glasses have made a difference? Tell me your glass story. Do you believe in it? Don't you believe in it? Don't take what just happened now into consideration. Really just trust yourself. We'll see you next time on Wine Library TV. Or part 2 I'm about to do. Hey guys, we're back and we're going to do the Cabernet now. So all you hardcore Vaniacs that stayed with me, I really appreciate it. And speaking of which, I'll really address this with you guys. The questions, I'm going to come back to that tomorrow. Again, yesterday's huge episode, today's huge episode. But we'll get back onto the normal format of questions and comments and all that stuff tomorrow. Once again, just want to thank everybody who watches the show. It means a whole lot to me. I'm getting so many emails. It's crazy. So, all right, let's move on. We're going to do the Cabernet now. We've already zoomed in on this, but why not? Let's do it again. This is the 04, 91, 93 Parker, $55 to $60. Glasses are a little close to me. So, let's see what a full-bodied, heavy red does. Who watched that Mets game last night? I was there. It was crazy. We were going nuts, I'm actually not really a baseball fan that much anymore. I grew up a huge Yankees fan, but once they won the World Series, I kind of lost interest. Same thing happened with the New York Rangers. So today's question of the day, part 2, is, do you think I'm going to lose interest with the Jets if they ever win a Super Bowl? I don't want to hear they're never going to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime. I can't deal with that. All right, so Camus, classic winery, world-famous Cabernet producer. One of the first wines I remember even meaning anything in the store. All right, I'm pumped up. The last part was just shocking. Couldn't really believe it, and let's see if we're going to get the same thing. This is the Venom Prestige Champagne. We're going to bang through this one again because, we really went into it last time. So, Champagne. Wow, good news. Very intense nose, but again, I think this Champagne does the same thing it did for the other wine, which is I find it showing more flaws than anything else. I mean, I'm smelling the oak and the black cherry, but I'm getting almost like a carbonated kind of nose. Very awkward, almost like, I don't know, manufactured, almost like the things you smell when you're going down the turnpike in New Jersey, the toxic, not the stinky burgundy smell, but almost like detergent, and I don't know what it is, but definitely getting that kind of nose. Black currant, big tannin structure, wow. Very dark, very luscious. Actually tastes really good even out of this glass. It's got a long finish. Again, a lot of that awkward nose is kind of going away. I'm just getting black fruit, blackberry, black currant. This is a 92, 93 point wine on this glass alone. All right, Sauvignon Blanc and dessert wine. I mean, the champagne glass is definitely the controversial one. This is much creamier, a little bit more oak, a little sweet oak, actually. More clean nose, a little more chocolate and blackberry on this nose than the champagne glass. I mean, this is just a layup. And this is a 93 to 94 point wine. And whereas this is maybe even more 91 to 92 point wine. So, we're seeing it again. Chablis. A little different as well. A little chocolate, a little bit more chocolate, and more mocha on this nose. Wow. Tell you what, as a side note, this 04 Caymus rocks. It's one of the best Caymus cabs I've had in a long time. Much more similar to the Sauvignon Blanc glass, and I'm seeing the same characteristics, so nothing too much to report there. Chianti Classico. Well, I'll tell you what, the place where you're really feeling the glasses, I've said in the last part, is in the nose. I'm getting it much, much more in the nose, which is such an important, integral part of wine tasting. This is a little bit more cloudy. Almost reminds me of like a refreshing tea. You know, feel, not smell, but like the feel is like, you know, just that nice, like English breakfast, just like a nice cloudy herbal smell mixed with the normal blackcurrant and fruit. Again, similar to the Chablis. Those three are very close. Very close. This should be the interesting one. This is the Venom Montrachet. This is such an awkward glass. It reminds me of actually like a cheap glass. This is what you see a lot of times in restaurants, just like cheap, like our wine glass, you know, so. And it doesn't disappoint. It smells completely different. This has almost a little bit more mint to it. It smells a little more like the forest. And the black currant. There's overriding similar factors. A little more luscious, a little more acidity, a little more tartness. Whereas these were like 93 to 94 point wines, this is probably more like a 91 to 93 again, because the acidity is giving some heatness and awkwardness. Even though the luscious flavors are there, you're getting some bitterness because of this Montrachet glass. Just wild. I mean, I'm really subdued and really like just like in thought more than anything else today. Venom Burgundy. And this is a complete roller coaster. Now this is more back to kind of the nose that I'm getting in the champagne glass. Not really. A little bit of a mix of the last two, that, you know, the first one and the last one we had. Mint eucalyptus, I'm getting a little more in this than the others. That chocolate black currant, I'm getting again. Wow. Nice wine. I'm actually thinking about the wine this time. Yeah, I actually gotta think. Sorry. You know, I mean, you know, I'm going into subtleties. All these have the basic structure of blackcurrant, cassis, oak, and then you're having your little subtleties, but they're definitely there, and they're definitely different. Now let's go to the exact glass made for this wine, the Venom Bordeaux. I think you all know by now, we're 110 episodes in, I really stick to my own guns. I don't really go for what's out there. I've got to tell you, this is probably the best nose. It's the most polished, it's the most perfected. Everything's integrated a little bit better. the oak, the blackberry. I mean, this is really not where I thought this was all going. .9. Whereas the others were 94s and 93s. It's a 95-point wine. I am completely shocked and humbled of how obvious this is. The Syrah glass. You know what's very funny? And now we're getting into the glasses. The Bordeaux and the Syrah are pretty close. Very, very similar. Whereas the Burgundy and Montrachet are not at all. Both wines tasted completely different. Whereas on the Syrah, again, the Syrah is a little lower than the Cab because you are getting a little more acidity that you didn't get in the Bordeaux glass. Do wine glasses have an impact on wine? I'm going to give it a singing huge absolutely not. We'll see you next time on Wine Library TV.